Welcome back to VHawks Podcast. Week 2 is upon us, and we look towards the future for potentially another win. Much more likely for Matt than me, but we are going to see what happens.
Okay, Miami,
Alrighty.
Buffalo. I'm going with Miami. I feel like Buffalo is going to struggle to keep up. I feel like Miami could make this into a high scoring game, and Buffalo just doesn't have the weapons, so Miami.
Agreed. Same points. Uh, New Orleans at Dallas. It's Dallas at home during the regular season, and the Saints played the Panthers next.
Yep. Um, Buccaneers v Lions. I feel in the pick'ems, the Lions are heavily favored 9-1. Um, I feel like this is going to be a closer game than it's picked, but I feel like the Lions, just coming off of being challenged versus the Rams versus the Buccaneers, who got to face Washington week one. I feel like Detroit's going to pull off this one at home.
Yeah, I'm predicting a big game by Aiden Hutchinson because the Rams schemed against him. So, I agree. I'll let you go first for that one since it's a division opponent for me.
Probably going to have to go with the Colts. Packers, I think they're going to struggle out the game with Malik Willis. I feel like I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but I feel like the Colts are going to be a little bit mad about losing week one. Um, Green Bay, there's still going to be questions about their defense, and we saw Texans defense struggle against Indianapolis and their wide receivers and weren't able to stay in front of them. Green Bay had the same issues going with Indianapolis. This should be a good game, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think this will be very close, as you said as well. I think Green Bay is gonna have to lean on Josh Jacobs, and the Colts just gave up a ton of yards last week, so it may end up turning in Green Bay's favor. But I do think that Malik Willis is the key factor here, and I just don't. From what I've seen from him, whenever he has played, I've not seen good things. And although Anthony Richardson did not complete a lot of passes, Green Bay's defense is better this year. It's tough to pick, but I think I'll side with you and go with the Colts as well.
Jets v Titans. Titans, we'll see if their defense is legit or if that was just Caleb Williams having some first game jitters. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to come out pissed with this game after getting pretty much smoked by the 49ers. They're going to want to win. Going with New York with this one.
Yep, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to worry about continuing a losing streak, so I agree.
We'll save our two games at the end. So Washington versus New York. I'm going with the Commanders. I just feel like they showed up a little bit more than the Giants did week one. I feel like Jaden Daniels, he's still going to be good. Daniel Jones, I don't have much hope for him this game. I feel like the Giants' defensive line could give the Commanders issues, but I think the Commanders are going to pull this one at home.
Yeah, like you said, Jaden Daniels. I mean, I was impressed by his week one performance, even in a loss. Hopefully he gets introduced to Terry McLaurin this week, and they can actually connect. Um, the key matchup here for me is Malik Neighbors versus Benjamin St. Juste. I think that'll be a great
Yeah.
matchup to watch for this game if Daniel Jones can actually get him the ball. He did it against our defense, so we'll have to see. But St. Juste is a very underrated corner, but I'm definitely going with Washington as well. Moving on to the Chargers at Carolina.
Chargers have a free
I think
win. Moving on.
what?
Chargers have a free
Yeah,
win. Moving on.
pretty much. Yeah. Browns at Jaguars. Deshaun Watson did not look good. Jacksonville gave up a big lead. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns getting revenge, the defense stepping up, and Deshaun Watson maybe having one less turnover, something of that
Um,
nature.
Still no Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson sucks. And I feel like the Jaguars are going to be able to pull this one off at home. Um, Vegas v Baltimore. Vegas had issues against the Chargers with running the football. I feel like the Ravens are going to want to show the world that Derrick Henry is still good and Lamar Jackson is still good at running the ball too. I just feel like it's just going to be too much for Gardner Minshew to keep up with, and I feel like Baltimore may be able to dominate the time of possession to force Las Vegas into throwing the football a lot. Going to keep them off balance, and Baltimore's going to be able to get the win probably pretty easily.
Yeah, I will say I will disagree. Lamar Jackson reminded everybody week one that he's still great with running the ball. But yeah, I think
Well,
this is a great opportunity for them to remind them who the king is and actually give him a ton of touches to crush the Raiders. So I agree. But you said remind them that Derrick Henry and Lamar can both run the
well, no,
ball.
I was just
Lamar
saying
had like
remind.
111 rushing.
I was just saying remind that Derrick Henry can run and Lamar Jackson can also run. So you have
Gotcha.
the two-headed beast there. But Los Angeles versus Arizona, I go back and forth with this game. Puka Nakua is going to be. I feel like they're going to miss him. It's just
Mhm.
because you can focus a lot more on Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup's still going to get his yards, but it's just how efficient is it? Um, I feel like I'm still going to go with the Rams. Cardinals had a good lead against um, the Bills, but weren't able to hold it. Still trying to figure out how to use Marvin Harrison. I just feel like it's going to be one of those things where they're just going to be a little bit outclassed. Now, later in the season, could I see Arizona pulling off an upset against the Rams? I could see it, but right now I just don't see it. Rams are going to be able to come back and get a win after the loss on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think why it's so heavily favored in the Rams is simply because they didn't use Marvin Harrison Jr. in the Arizona game. So I think that I'm going to pick the Rams, and I'm probably going to pick the opponents of Arizona until they figure out how to use him properly. And then I think that's when I'll start thinking about picking them in upset games and maybe picking them in their next time against the Rams, as you mentioned. Moving on to the Steelers at the Broncos. Both teams had great defensive showings, both offenses. We just won't talk about that. TJ Watt is TJ Watt. That is my reasoning.
Yeah, Denver had some struggles with the offensive line, wasn't really able to get a run game going, and I feel like it's going to be the same issue this week. Um, Pittsburgh, I feel like their issue or their strength is going to be a bit more of the defensive line rather than Bo Nix having the issue with the defensive secondary of Seattle. I could see this where TJ Watt maybe has two, three sacks and maybe a forced fumble on Bo Nix.
There we go. Moving on to Cincinnati at Kansas City. This always shapes up to be a good matchup, and Bengals usually do win in Arrowhead. I think they only have one loss, but I think it's going to become two. The Bengals just struggled too much week one, and the Chiefs look to be firing on all cylinders, and they already figured out how to use Xavier Worthy. I think it's just going to continue to be too much.
If this was a Bengals and if we've heard anything from the Jamar Chase situation, maybe. Still no Jamar Chase contract, and at Kansas City, Bengals have started out 0-2 the past 2 years, maybe. I think we're going to go for three, going with the Chiefs.
There you go. Chicago at Houston. The Caleb Williams and the Bears just did not show me enough to have faith in them. I don't think their defense can carry them to a win again, especially against Houston's offense. So give me Houston, also known by Tom Grossi as the Strouds.
Yeah, I feel like Houston, they're not going to make the same mistakes as the Titans did. And I also feel like that defense is going to want to basically tighten up the screws after what Richardson did to them for on a couple passes last or on Sunday. So I feel like this is going to be a game where Caleb Williams is not going to look hot for the second week straight. So I'm going with the almost at the Strouds with the Texans.
There you go. And our Monday night matchup, Atlanta at the Eagles. Kirk Cousins does not typically win against the Eagles. He can show up, so maybe this will be his wake up game. But even with Atlanta's new acquisitions, I think Philadelphia's offense is still going to run all over them. Um, and I just think that it's going to be too much to stop. Plus, Atlanta still has some rust to shake off, so give me the Eagles.
Did you forget it's on a Monday night?
Yeah, but Kirk has won. Kirk won against the Niners on a Monday night, so
It's still a Monday night. Bro ain't winning a
without
game.
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm Philly's just going to have too many weapons, and I feel like that defense is going to want to, just like the Texans, basically crank it in after a not so great showing last week. I feel like Philly is not going to have the same issue or not going to have the same mistakes as they did, and Atlanta's still just trying to find out their identity. So Philly might probably be an easy win.
There we go. All right, which one are we doing first?
Let's go your game first.
All
I
right,
think
I
that's
think
pretty
this.
easy.
I just want a a close game.
Yep.
That's what I want. I don't think I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna say how about a two-score game is what I can say close enough. Um if that happens, I'll probably be happy. I fully expect San Francisco to win this game. Whether or not McCaffrey plays, I think is irrelevant. I think that San Francisco is just the better team. I don't know if we could pull off that miracle twice in a row with us beating them last year. Um, but who knows? This was Sam Darnold's old team, so maybe he just continues his revenge tour and goes 2-0. But I don't like the odds, so I'm going to take the Niners.
If Addison was healthy, I'd say 10 to 14 or lower would be a moral victory. If he's not playing, then I'd say 14 to 21 is a moral victory. Um, I feel like you could probably keep the game close at first. It's just going to be in the second half if McCaffrey or Mason. If Mason's playing, or well, even if McCaffrey's not playing, I feel like Mason's still going to be able to run the ball. I feel like your defensive unit might be able to hold up the run a bit better than the Jets did, but
I highly doubt that.
we'll see.
But I'm glad you have some confidence in it.
Well, the main thing with the Jets is that the way their defensive line was always good is because they had players to rotate. One of the pieces that, or they traded, or they got rid of 2 to 3 of those pieces for one guy that's sitting on the sideline right now, demanding to either be paid or traded. So one of those things where I feel like the Jets are going to have some issues blocking the run. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I'm sorry, bud, but I'm going to have to go for the 49ers.
I will say the X factor in this game is going to be Sam Darnold. And not that's not just because he's quarterback. It's because our defense might be able to fluster the 49ers because we made Brock Purdy look like some pile of you know what last season. And that's with McCaffrey. Um, he looked flustered. He threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter. He just did not look good in that game last year. So I think Brian Flores' scheming can keep us in the game. The only question is, are Sam Darnold, and I'll even add in Aaron Jones. So it'll be Sam Darnold and Aaron Jones. Is that going to be enough to keep up with them? Because I think if we can keep up our offense, I think we'll keep it close and maybe even pull off a stunning upset. But again, like I said, I think that the 49ers will literally run away with it. So moving on to your game, um, I hope that you guys do not get beat by the Patriots by overlooking them. I am going to pick Seattle. Um, and that is all I have to say about that.
Feel like it's going to be a tougher game than I originally came into the year expecting it or hoping it would be. But I feel like Seattle's going to be able to pull this one off. It might be tight. You're not going to have too many possessions. I feel like the offense is going to get into running the ball. We Once we got into the second half and started running the ball, we were having more success. So expect both sides to be running the ball. Might be over 200 yards rushing on both sides, and go for the under because most likely both sides is just not going to have enough time to score that many points to hit the over under. So I feel like
Yep.
Seattle should be able to pull this off, but probably going to be a tight game just because of the lack of possessions. Every possession is going to count for this game, but I feel like Seattle's going to be able to pull it off in the end.
There you go. I will say, if we do beat the 49ers, I will be too happy, and I will have already won the season. So I'm just going to announce that now, that if we beat the Niners, no matter what happens the rest of the season, it's a win for me. So just gonna leave that out there. I may even convince you to make the front picture like this. I may make you make it all Vikings for the reaction to week 2 if we beat the Niners.
That's not going to happen, but you can
Okay,
dream.
you can have like a small little corner or something like that. Like that little box below Tyler Lockett.
No, you can get a part. You can get a good portion of the screen, but you're not getting all of it.
All right, well, more than half. If we beat the 49ers,
You
we
can get
gotta.
something like the screen is right now.
Yeah, that's fair. All right,
This is Seahawks
cool.
podcast, not Vikings podcast.
I'm gonna be very excited. Okay, what if the Vikings win and the Patriots win?
It'll still be 75. This is Seahawks podcast.
All right,
It's just going to be a different picture than Seattle.
right. All right. Yeah, no, it's good. Like I said, I at the week 1, I have no expectations, so I can continue that because it was against the Giants. So I still have no expectations, so that's the bliss of this, is that I my expectations are low. So anything the Vikings do to make it close will be just bliss.
Also, good old reliable Tyler Lockett.
There you go. Came in clutch.
Did you see
All
the
right.
catch on third down off of the 2 minute warning?
Oh yeah.
Bro, one hand
Good.
caught that thing.
Yep. It's a great way to seal the game. But yeah. With that, that's our week 2 predictions. I don't think we had any different, did we?
You had
Oh,
what's
the
their
Browns. I had the
faces?
Browns instead of
Yeah.
the Jaguars, but I think that's the only one we're different on this week.
You should pick the Cardinals or the Broncos.
I'm not gonna lie. I was tempted to take the Cardinals, but like I said, if they had played Marvin Harrison Jr., I would have picked them, but they haven't had that connection yet, so I'm not picking them.
Or you could pick the Packers.
I was torn between. You're literally naming the two games I was the most torn. You know what? Sure, Packers. Josh Jacobs is gonna run all over that defense.
Also, just for those who are keeping score at home, Tyler lost 2 more games than I did. Should have been 3 if I didn't change the damn Steelers because Russ got hurt, but damn it, we're still starting out the year 14-2.
Yep, and I'm still 12-4, so I mean, still happy. I won my fantasy game, and the Vikings won, which is the most important thing. So I'm fine with that.
Hey, as long as we stay above 500, I think we're doing pretty good.
That was our goal last year. That's still our goal this year.
As long as we don't have to bring out the damn coin again because stuff gets stupid.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Games that would make us bring out the coin. The Saints beating the Cowboys, the Titans beating the Jets, the Vikings beating the Niners, the Patriots beating you guys, the Giants beating the Commanders, the Panth Okay, if the Panthers beat the Chargers, we're breaking out the coin. That doesn't even have to be with multiple games. It just has to be that one.
Okay,
If
the
the Raiders beat the Ravens, and if the Bengals beat the Chiefs, well, that was not as surprising, but
okay,
if
there's
the Bears beat the
only
Texans,
there's 3 games that will break out the coin. Raiders, Panthers,
hmm
Saints.
maybe the Falcons against the Eagles.
Now we'll keep it those 3.
Okay.
But the stipulation for the whole year, if we both go under 500 for a week,
Yeah,
we
I,
break out
bel
the
I
coin.
believe in that. And also, I feel a little bit better that you made me switch to, because it'll allow me to catch up on 2 if they somehow go my way. And not only that, because I picked the Packers, I'll be happy either way. So thanks for sliding me back into what you didn't want me doing this season. So thanks, man.
Whatever.
But hey, I did pick the Eagles last week. So you can't say that I never picked uh that I picked the Packers every game. So anyway, with that, that is the end of this predictions. Hopefully we do well, and that is it.
Peace.